This tutorial we're going to cover how to create an estimate from a door and hardware schedule. Here we have a door and hardware schedule already opened up, and you'll do this after you've finished entering all the doors and frames. You want to make sure this is all complete. Entering all the hardware. So that after everything's been completed, get all the hardware in for all the doors. You can go under this update products, discounts, and markups just to check. You want to make sure there aren't any products that are not in part of your database, because if there are, they will not be sent over and they won't show up on the estimate. And to do that, you can just come up here to part numbers to update, check this box, door schedule. So check doors first, and it says there are 0. Then it'll check this box, it'll check the frames, it's still 0, and then check the hardware. As long as there aren't any products that show up down here, you're good to go. So we'll come under the ordering tab, and right here is where we're going to send the all the parts to an estimate. Now, if you have a job that's multiple phases, then the phases will show up here under this box. Now at this time you can only create an estimate, PO, or sales order by phase. You cannot combine them. At this time we're just not set up to do that. But if that should become a requirement for anyone, let us know and we'll see if we can take a look at it later on. So for right now, you can see we've got all the doors, the frames, and the hardware. And this will show us the quantity for each item, how many are in stock for that item, how many are on order for stock, and how many are on a purchase order for this job. And that was the job that was under the Open Job tab. So it's just for this job only. There could be other jobs that have that same product on order, but it's only going to show you for this job here. And how many of those have been received, if any. And here it shows you the phase. Everything's listed individually by tag number. See tag 7, 7A, it's the same door, but they're on separate lines. And it's like this all the way down the list for doors, frames, and hardware. Now you could go ahead and select everything and try to send it to an estimate. It will work, but on larger projects, it'll save you some time if you check this box here, group all part numbers. So when I'll check that box, and what it's going to do is it's going to group all the like items, like this 2870 left-hand wood door, on the same line, and it's going to combine all the tag numbers. There we go. So now you can see we've got a quantity of 2 tag number 7 and 7A for that 3070 left-hand wood door. And this makes it easier to tell if you've got enough in stock or on order to fulfill the door schedule. But at this time, if we're estimating, these columns probably really aren't that important. You can worry about that later on down the line, ordering purchase orders and sending it to a sales order when you reach that stage. But right now we're concentrating on sending to an estimate. And by combining them, like I said, you'll have less lines to that the system has to go through to send to an estimate. So the first thing we can do, you've got options here where you can select all. So if I check this box here, it's going to go down through and select all items. See all the check boxes for sending to an estimate, but only for phase 1. If you scroll down, you can see there's phase 2 right here. So these 2 items are not included because they're in a different phase. And it'll be the same for the hardware and the frames. And we also have this box here to include tag numbers. So all the tag numbers will be included when it's sent over to the estimate. If you don't worry about the tag numbers, you don't care, just uncheck that box and it won't include them. It'll put the tag numbers under the product note of each line item. So once we're ready, let's explain one other thing. You can select all items like that, Or if you just wanted to send doors only, you can select this box here. It'll only check the doors only, no frames, no hardware. And then we can send that to an estimate. The same way with frames. If we wanted to send just doors and frames, I could check this box. It'll now send doors, frames, and no hardware. But we're going to go ahead and just send everything, because typically that's how you would create your estimate anyway. And we'll leave that checked for tag numbers. It's not really important. So we're going to do phase 1. So you can see everything in phase 1 is checked. All we have to do is now is click Send to Estimate. This is just verifying that you want to add the selected products to the estimate. If you want to continue, we'll say yes. And while that loads, it'll let us know to pop up a box, which we'll show you in just a second. Okay, I did pause that video. I didn't want to waste a bunch of time on this tutorial making you sit through all that. It does take a couple minutes to send all these items to an estimate. But you see the box here, when the estimate opens, go to each type estimate and verify all data. So you want to make sure that everything was sent okay. So we'll say okay to that. And the estimate opens up. You can see this is the same estimate, 12799, that's showing up here now on the estimate number. So we'll go over to product information, and we'll check hardware first. So you can go through and just check, make sure everything looks good. You can see it includes all the tag numbers, pricing, and everything. In the same way with hollow metal. So there's doors, frames, and components. And for wood doors. And there's our total estimate there for all 3 categories. Alright, so with the estimate number listed here, if you ever came in here later and wanted to pull up that estimate, just go look for 12799 under search estimates, and you can pull that estimate back up. Alright, so now let's say later on we want to create an estimate for the other phase. I'll just select 2, and we'll go ahead and select all items. You can see it went down and selected only phase 2. Doors, frames, and hardware. So now I can go ahead and send to the estimate. And this will create an estimate for phase 2. And there we have it. So it's going to open up the estimate. Again, go through, make sure everything looks okay. You can see it has a new estimate number here for those 2, for phase 2. Now, if you ever wanted to recreate an estimate, maybe you added some doors to the schedule after you created this estimate, and now you want to get them added on. What you can do is you can click this button, Clear Estimate Number. It'll go down and clear out all the estimate numbers, and that'll allow you to recreate this whole estimate all over again. Or if you just wanted a particular estimate, maybe you only added doors to phase 2, you could take this number 12800, enter it in this box, click Clear Estimate. It'll clear that estimate, and that'll allow you to create a new estimate for phase 2. Okay, so that should pretty well cover it. It's pretty straightforward. So if you have any questions or concerns on this, please give us a call or email. Thanks.